Hello everyone, welcome to a new video on stock market. So this video is a continuation of a series that I am doing now, that is basics of a stock market. So I have already made two videos on basics of stock market. This is the third and the last video of this series. So in this last video, we will discuss about why do people buy stocks, why does the price of a stock decreases or increases, how can you buy stocks in Indian stock market, and then what are stock market index. So what do you mean by that? What do you mean by bulls and bear market? So these are the terms you keep on hearing in stock market. So I will discuss these terms in this video. First, let's look at why do people buy stocks. So and also I will recommend you to watch my first two videos also. So the first video was on how stock market originated, and the second video was on initial public, sorry, IPO of the company, and where I differentiated between public company and private company, and also what is the difference between primary market and secondary market. So when you buy stocks of a company, you become a partial owner of that company. So the same thing I have discussed in my last video also. What do you mean by stocks or shares? So when you buy shares or stocks of sub company, you are basically becoming a partial owner of that company. And now a part of profit that company makes are yours. So ideally they are yours, but in most cases all the profits are not paid to the shareholders, because company will also want to reinvest that money, whatever profits they have earned, into like making more profits. Like they may open, let's say, new factories using those money. Correct. I mean, basically, they can try to expand the company and make more profits. So that's why they will not return all the money to the all the profits to the shareholders. But yeah, they mostly, if they are not in the initial stage where a lot of money is required, then I mean, let's say they are at some stage where not lot of money is required for, I mean, creating factories or other things, then whatever money is remaining, they will return that to the shareholders as dividends. And also, as a shareholder of a company, you will be invited to attend annual meeting of the company, where they will discuss about the how the company performed in that year. So main reason for buying stocks is the price appreciation of the stock. So one of the reasons I told is that you get some, I mean, so you get dividends, right? I mean, dividends are, so basically profits are distributed to the shareholders, but the amount of basically dividend per share is not quite great. I mean, so you will be like getting maybe kind of, let's say, it's called dividend yield actually. So it's kind of, let's say, whatever its share price is, you will be getting around maybe 0.5% or 1% of that share price as a dividend, and that will not be huge. So the main reason for buying stock is the price appreciation of the stock itself. So if you have bought the stock at, let's say, 100 rupees, and the stock reaches 300 rupees, you have made a profit of 200 rupees on the one stock. And if you have, let's say, bought huge chunk of this stock, then your profit will be a lot higher. So if a company does good, stock price increases. So that's how you will benefit with the price appreciation if the company does good. If a company does bad, stock price decreases. So this is a general rule in stock market. So the stock price of a company depends on its performance. So basically it's something like this. I'm not going to go into details of why the stock price rises or falls, but the general concept is something like this. So if a company does good, the demand for its stocks will increase, correct? Because more people now want to buy their stock because the company is doing very good. So there will be increase in the stock price. That's because demand is greater than supply here. So stock market works on the concept of demand and supply. So if the demand is greater than supply, then the stock price increases. The reverse also can happen. If the company does bad, the demand for its stocks will decrease. Now there are more sellers than buyers. Like more people want to sell their stocks because the company has done bad. They do not want to own shares of this company. And in this case, what happens? Supply of the stocks in the market becomes greater than demand of the stocks. So in this case, what happens? The stock prices decrease. So the stock price of the company decreases. So this is the general concept why stock price increase decreases. Okay, again, we will again look at this again, like why does stock price fall or rises. So this is a bit different from the thing I discussed in my last slide. So now the question is, how does the demand increase or for a stock or decrease for a stock? So I told you, right, price decreases if price decreases if the demand from the stock decreases or supply increases, and price of the stock increases if the demand for the stock increases, right? But why does this happen? Why does the demand or the supply increase or decrease? So this is because of the company doing well. So, okay, there are two cases here. So, in the short term, there can be various other reasons for the prices to fluctuate. But in the longer term, actually, okay, I will discuss in the next slide. So, let's discuss in the short term what can happen. And also, I wanted to mention one more point. So, these are some of the ways in which the stock price, changes. So basically, but in most cases, so stock prices keeps on changing every day. I mean, someday, every day the price will be different for a stock. So if you start guessing that why the price is increasing every day or decreasing every day, on these days, you will not be able to find some specific reasons for it. So nobody knows for sure why price are increasing or decreasing on random days. Nobody knows for that. So in short term, what happens? It depends on the positive and negative news of the company. So in short term, let's say there is a positive news about the company. Let's say the example that sales of the company has increased, or maybe company has started production in a new factory. So if there are this kind of news, positive news for the company, then the stock prices, so demand for the stock increases and stock price increases. But the opposite can also happen. If there are negative news for the company, let's say the sales of the company has decreased, or maybe the company was dependent on some let's say some raw materials whose price has increased. So that will basically affect the company itself, right? So in that case, that is negative news. So basically, price will decrease or supply will increase, or most people will start selling the shares. Now this slide is very important. So in long term, what happens? So that was in short term. But so see, there is a difference. In short term, even a quarter result. So it is actually all the companies publish their results 4 times a year. I'm basically at the end of all the 4 quarters. So in the short term, what can happen if even if one of the quarter result is bad, the stock price can fall, and even if the one of the quarter results is good, the stock price can increase. But in the long term, what happens? In the long term, price of a stock is function of its earning. It's not function of 1 quarter earnings or 2 quarter earnings. It's a function of like long term earnings, like 4 year, 5 year, 6 year earnings. So how they have increased their earnings in, let's say, 5 to 10 years. So stock price depends on that. So even if you have done bad in 1 or 2 quarters in these 5 6 years, in the long term you will not. Basically in that quarter you will see a fall in stock price, but when you see the overall trend for 5 to 10 years, you will see a very good like upward trend for the stock price. So if a company keeps on increasing earnings year by year, stock price should increase. And if a company cannot grow its earnings, opposite is also true. So let's say, even if let's say company has done very well for 1 or 2 quarters, but for the other quarters, if the company keeps on doing bad, then also in the long term price is going to decrease. And also there is another reason also. In the short term, there is another reason also. So if the earnings do not increase as expected by its investors, stock price can again decrease. So let's say the company was a very high growth company, which investor was expecting that it should grow at 20%. But one of the results, let's say over let's say 1 year or 2 years, they see that the stock actually their profits are actually just increasing at 10%, right? So in this case also the stock prices can decrease, because they will now basically, so they were valuing at some, so okay, I should not go into valuation now, but they were expecting 20% growth from this company, but that didn't happen. And 10% growth happened. So investors will think that okay, I should better sell this stock and maybe buy some other stock that gives 20% growth maybe in earnings. So yeah, they can change this. And opposite can also happen. Let's say if the investors were thinking that this company should grow at 10%, but let's say it keeps on repeating 20% growth maybe year on year, right? In this case also what happens? Stock price will increase, because now demand for this stock will increase. But people were initially thinking it's a 10%, I mean earnings grower stock, but it is basically earning at 20%. In this case also, price can increase. Take example of HUL, Hindustan Unilever Limited. It's one of the, so it's the biggest, I will say biggest FMCG company in India by market capitalization, and it Some of the products are Dove, Lux, Surf Excel, for example. And if you see for in the graph here, this is the stock price chart for HUL over the years. And if you see from like 1999, like 1999 to around 2012, its stock price was almost flat. There was no increase in the stock price. If you see, it's almost kind of flat. So what could have happened is, let's say the earnings of the company, maybe it would have maybe increased during this time, maybe by 5%, 6%. But the issue here was that HU was losing a lot of, like, it has a lot of products, so it was losing market share in these products to its competitors in this time. So people were afraid that in long term maybe HUL will not do good, because if it keeps on losing market share to this company. But then again, HUL is a very good company. It came back and it regained its market share in many of its products, and you can see that reflection in the price after 2012. So once the investor understood that actually is doing good, it's regaining the market share, now they started buying the stocks more. They increased the demand for the stock and it kept on increasing, and it's like from 500, it's like it reached 2000 in some, I mean from 12 to 20, right? So very good, I mean profits would have been made on this. Okay. So this slide is also very important. So people buy stock for its future earnings. So this is very important. They do not buy the stock for just its past earning or present earning. They buy it for future earnings of the company. How much the company is going to earn in next 10 years, 15 years. They buy a stock for that. And stock price also reflects about the future of the company. That's very important. I will just give you an example. Let's say that some company announces that their next quarter is going to be bad, but even if the results for next quarter has not come, right? So this is, let's say, quarter number Q3, and then the and management tells that in the Q4 we have some issues and maybe the sales may I mean remain flat or decrease. But what I mean stock in stock market, what will happen? It price will start decreasing from that day itself. I mean, once this news comes into picture, I mean, because stock market reflects on the future of the company. So whatever, so everybody knows that in the next quarter the company is not going to do very good. So that's why they will. I mean, many of them will start selling the shares in this quarter itself. And actually, when the result is announced in the next quarter, where you see the dip in the results, uh, maybe you will see that the price is increasing actually, because that is I mean the decrease in the sales has already been, I mean if you see, and people have already what I will say, I'm not finding exact term, but people have already uh, thought about that in the last quarter itself, and they have sold the shares, right? And now the price has already decreased before the earnings I mean are announced for Q4. And in Q4, what can happen when the earnings are announced? Maybe the price is increasing. So there's two important terms I wanted to discuss about here. Earnings per share. So earnings per share is quite simple. So whatever total profits the company earns, if you divide it by total number of shares the company has, you get earning per share. How much per so how much every share is earning, how much profits every share is earning. That's called earning per share. Now you will think that okay, does the stock price trade at the value of earning per share? I mean, should it ideally trade at that value? So let's say the profit of one share is 1 rupees. So should I trade at 1 rupees? So the answer is actually no. Because take for example, if you have a restaurant business, right? So will you sell your restaurant business for whatever profits you have at the same price? Will you sell at that price? It depends. Mostly, if your profits, if you know that if your profits are going to increase over years, I mean, over let's say year by year, and let's say 5 to 10%, you're not going to sell your restaurant at the same profits, right? Because you see growth in your restaurant. But if let's say if you see that okay, maybe that your restaurant is not doing good, maybe, or it's let's say its profits are decreasing every year by year, maybe in that case, yeah, maybe you will sell at the profit itself, how much profit you are earning, maybe. So there is another ratio called price to earning ratio. So it's something like you divide the stock price by earnings per share. So you get price to earning ratio. So uh, what do we mean by price to earning ratio is quite simple. So if the price to earning ratio is 10, so basically you are paying 10 rupees for rupees 1 profit of the company. For every 1 rupees profit of the company, you are paying 10 rupees for buying that stock. So basically you are giving 10 times the profit money, right? That's why I told mostly the companies will not trade at exact the earnings per share of a, I mean, they will not, their share price will not be earnings per share. It will be multiple of that. That's what is called price to earning ratio actually. So let's say if the earnings was 10, let's say example, earnings per share was 10 and P is 10, that means the stock price is how much? 10 into 10, 100, right? So that stock always trades at premium because stock, I mean, people buy stock for future earnings, right? That's why. And it's not at always that, okay, sometimes, so this PE can be very small also. It depends on the company to company. If a company is very good company who is increasing profit year by year, then P value for that will be high because I mean people will be like people want to basically buy at higher valuation. So let's say if the P is 10, that means people are willing to basically pay 20 rupees for 1 rupees profit of that company because they think that this company can grow very fast. And then if this company keeps on growing very fast, so they have paid 20 rupees for 1 rupees profit. So in very fast time, maybe they will get their 20 rupees back. That's what they think. And there is another ratio called price to growth ratio. So this is also used for, so this price to earning ratio and price to growth ratio are some important ratios to find out the valuation of the company. So price to growth is like if you divide the price to earning ratio by growth, then you get the price to growth ratio. So growth is, let's say if the company profits are growing 20%, then 20 is the growth. If 30%, then 30 is the growth. And these two ratios are very good for finding if the stock is undervalued or overvalued. So I'm not going to discuss this in details in this video. I just wanted you to know about some of the terms in stock market like earnings per share, price to earning ratio, price to growth ratio. This, yeah. And I will discuss about these terms in later videos. So the profits of the company is either paid to the shareholders as dividends or reinvested into the business to make more profits. That's what I've already explained before. Take example of this stock, Eicher Motors. So Eicher Motors is the manufacturer of Royal Enfield bikes. So if you see the stock price for this, so around, if you see it remained flat for quite a long time, not flat, but yeah, in very low range. And if you see it started increasing around 2008-9, right? And if you see the curve again, it keeps on going up and up and up till it reaches here and then starts going down. So actually, if you, I'm not pasted the earnings of this company, but the earnings in this stage, the earnings was keep on increasing. It was increasing at around 30% every year, right? So the stock prices also reflects that earnings. Now after around 2017, mid 2017, what happened? The sales of, I mean, Royal Enfield bikes started decreasing month by month, year by year. So that also started reflecting in this stock price. If you see, the stock prices has started decreasing after that. So once basically the sales of the bikes keeps on increasing. So once they go back to the past, where the sales are increasing, I mean, share price is not going to increase. So once that happens, sales keeps on starts increasing, then you will see the reflection in stock price also. So next is where does the buying and selling of the stock happen? So where does this happen actually, selling and buying of stock? So if you remember in the first video where I was discussing about how stock market originated, I told you that the first stock exchange was in Amsterdam, right? And the company was Dutch East India Company, which used to sell shares there near that river. So buying and selling of stocks actually happens through stock exchanges. So stocks are actually listed on stock exchanges. So whichever companies goes public, their stocks will be listed on one of the stock exchanges, sometimes on multiple stock exchanges also. So stock exchanges are like marketplace for trading of stocks between buying and sellers, with broker acting as an intermediate. So basically there will be broker which will be acting intermediate between the buyer and the seller, and basically this transaction will take place in the stock exchanges. So similarly, take for example of vegetables. For vegetables, buying and selling of vegetables, you have a vegetable marketplace, right? Similarly, for buying and selling of shares, you have stock exchanges. And in today's world, in modern world, buying and selling happens are automated today and happens through electronic medium. So you can directly sit on your computer and enter the how many shares you want, at what price you want. You press enter and you will get that share. In India, there are two popular stock exchanges in India. NSE and BSE, that is National Stock Exchange and Bombay Stock Exchange. So these are the two popular stock exchanges in India. There are many other smaller stock exchanges also, but these are the two of the popular ones. Now next is how to buy and sell shares. So let's say, okay, you want to buy, so you like some company and you want to buy shares of that company. Now how you can do that? So actually for this, you have to have three things: bank account, demat account and trading account. So bank account is, and for the transfer of money, like if you buy a share, you have to transfer money, right? And if you get some profits, you again will want that profits to be, basically sent to the bank account. That's why bank account. Now there is two important new accounts, a demat account and trading account. So trading account is actually where all the stocks are listed and you can buy and sell the stocks. That is a trading account. That's what the name trading, right? Where you can trade your stocks. Now demat account is where your all the so basically when you buy a stock, you are becoming a ownership of that company. I mean you basically get a partial ownership of that company. Now you should have some proof, right, that you have brought this stock. So those are some certificates that are stored in the demat account in the electronic form. Those will be like, you can see that if you go to your demat account, you can see that there will be like papers, like electronic papers for all the shares that you have. So trading account is where you buy the shares. Demat account, your share certificates are kept. And also most banks today do provide this account as three-in-one account. That is savings account, demat account and trading account. They provide together. So ICICI Bank, HDFC Bank, Kotak Mahindra Bank, these all banks provide that. But other than banks, there are other companies also, non-banking companies, that also provide you with demat account and trading account. They do not provide you banking account because only banks can provide you banking account. But companies like Zerodha, they provide you demat account and trading account. Now next is where does the buying and selling of a stock happen? Okay, I think this is repeated. Okay, I think I missed the thing here. So here I wanted to tell about bulls and bear market. I do not know. I think this slide got repeated here, but this I have already discussed in my last slides, right? So here I will discuss now. Next, I will discuss about bull market and bear market. What are these? So bull market is like in stock market. What happens? The price of the stock keeps on increasing day by day, right? It usually happens when the economy of the country is booming or is going to boom. As I've already told you, right? Stock prices are based on the future earnings or future hope. So even if it is going to boom, then also share prices will start increasing from today only. And in this bull market, what happens? There are more optimists than pessimists. So optimists are positive people who think that okay, this company economy will do good. Pessimists are negative who think that okay, this will not do good. So in bull market, you have more optimists in stock market. So they keep on buying shares and keep on. Basically, demand increases, right? Same concept. Demand for share increases in bull market. So the prices of stocks keeps on increasing in bull market. In bear market, so totally opposite to bull market. So in bear market, price of the stock keeps on decreasing day by day because of various reasons. Maybe recession is looming, or there are some issues with the economy itself. Maybe any issues can be any issues. Like economy of the country is in bad shape or going to be bad. Again, future also, if people know before 3 months that the economy is going to be bad, then people will start selling shares before 3 months itself. And in this market, you have more pessimists than optimists. So you will hear this bull market and bear markets every day. So whenever the stock prices, decreases, you will see people telling about bear market. When the stock price keeps on increasing, you will see people telling bull market. So take example of this. This is the graph for Sensex price. Actually, I will discuss about Sensex in the next slide. What is Sensex? So here, if you see the price, if you see here somewhere in 2000, right? Around 2000, if you see stock prices started decreasing, right? So it was kind of like a started bear market, kept on decreasing. Now again here from 2003, if you see 2004, started increasing a lot, right? And you can see this, it reached peaked here. It was kind of bull market. Then again 2008 recession happened and you got another bear market, right? The price fell here, right? 2009. Again from here you got a bull market till here, almost here, right? Then you again got a dip here, like a bear market, again a bull market, another bear market. So it keeps on happening something like this. It's like stock market runs in cycle, bull markets and bear markets. They are a part of stock price. So let's talk about last, we'll talk about stock market indices. So a stock market index consists of a subset of stocks. Sorry, excuse me. So basically you have a lot of stocks listed in the stock market. So a stock index, what it will have is a subset of stocks from this, maybe 50 stocks, 50 large stocks or 50 small cap. So okay, so not going to small caps, large caps there. So basically let's say some 50 stocks from stock market, some random 50 stocks. Maybe some index has, let's say, 100 stocks from the stock market, right? Maybe let's say 100 largest stock in the stock market, right? Maybe. And the price of a stock index, so stock index also has a price, is determined by taking weighted arithmetic mean of the prices of the stock in the index. So this index consists of a lot of stocks. Every stock will have a price, and also in this index every stock will also get like how much weight that stock contains. Let's say some stock may contain 5% weight, some stock may maybe of 1% weight. So weight of every stock varies. Now if you take the weighted arithmetic mean of this, so you get the stock price of this. And the stock market index reflects the overall condition of the market. So that's why, okay, I will take the example of, so basically stock market normally reflects the economy of a country. If the economy is doing good, in most cases you will see the stock indexes price, price of stock indexes going higher and higher. If the country economy is not doing good, you will see this, stock market index prices going down and down. So some of the popular stock indices are Sensex and Nifty. So Sensex is a group of 30 stocks from various sectors. So these are very big companies. Nifty, again, Nifty has a lot of indexes again, like Nifty 50 is there, Nifty Next 50 is there, Nifty small cap, Nifty mid cap. It has a lot of this. So the main important one is the Nifty 50, which consists of top 50 companies in India. And these 50 companies belongs to like various sectors. So let's see this. Let's see the constitute of Nifty 50 index. So these are the, so you can see the sector representation here. Financial services stocks have 36% representation in this index. IT has 14%, oil and gas 13%, consumer get 13%, and other also. Then these are some fundamentals of the company. I talked about PE, price to book. These are some fundamental parameters, dividend yield. And the returns, if you see, in 1 year it's negative 16%, in 5 years 3%, and since this stock index started, it's around 9%. And this stock started, launch date is 1996, if you see here, Nifty 50. Then you can also see which are the top constituents by weight. So I told, right, that every stock has a weight. So in this index, Reliance has a weight of around 11%. So basically, higher the weight, higher this company's stock price can influence the price of the index itself. So you got the point, right? Because we are taking an arithmetic mean, right? Weighted arithmetic mean. Since the weight of these stocks are higher, so their weighted value will also be higher, right? So basically, if the price of this stock increases, then the price of, basically it will have more power on the price of the index itself. So and HDFC Bank has 10% weight. Then so basically Housing Development Finance Corporation has 8%, Infosys 6%. Then you have others also. So that is the concept of this Nifty index. And normally people normally watch the index. So if you want to see that, okay, how is the stock market doing today, so either you will see the Sensex, how Sensex or the Nifty 50 is doing, because they reflect the stock trend. Because see, this Sensex and Nifty 50 consists of the top companies of India, right, in their sectors. So mostly is general rule, that not general rule. So also one more point to remember, it does not mean that if Sensex is going down, that does not mean that all the stocks are going down. Do not think that. Some of the stocks in that are going down, and which are basically making the Sensex price down, kind of, right? And yeah, and also, yeah, so basically Sensex or Nifty 50 reflects the overall mood of the market, because they consist of the top biggest Indian companies basically, and they have representation of all the sectors in Indian economy. So if they are increasing or decreasing, it basically they reflect the overall economy of the country. So that's all for this video, and I hope you would have understood about why the stock prices rises and falls, right? And also about how to buy stocks, what are bull and bear market, then what are stock market index, Nifty 50 and Sensex. So that's all for this video. Thank you.